Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon. Hey guys, it's Vanguard. So back in another Card Fight Vanguard deck profiles. If you guys enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and let's get one started, shall we? So this time we're covering Narukami, Armor Break Dragon. So, Armor Break, to my memory, back when it was first released, was a decent card. I think its name specifies what it is. You get rid of all your defenses. If I remember Armor Break correctly, that is. I could be wrong. But pretty much, fuck all your defenses, get numbers, get crit, pray to God your opponent can't guard, win the game in one go. Then Gauntlet came out, and Gauntlet I think was effectively better than Armor Break, partially because it actually had support, because it was a fucking Eradicator. But then we got MV, the return of Gauntlet, and Gauntlet was like one of the best Narukami decks hand down. I think it's still one of the better Narukami decks, just because it can get extra critical really quickly and then force out numbers and fuck over your opponent's guard. I think, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Gauntlet is still running a lot of decks just because he's a good card and can make for a really good finisher. Armor Break just came out literally yesterday, or at least the day I'm recording this would be yesterday, and it's fucking good. Like, screw the opponent, instant probably one shot regardless if the opponent's at grade 2 or grade 3 if you play it right. So let's go ahead and go over the deck and you'll see what I mean. So first up we have our starter in Harbinger Draco Kid, grade 0 boost, 10k shield, 6k base, auto and road upon draw a card of any of your opponent's Vanguards or grade 1 or grade 8, a quick show ticket to your hand. So standard starter, nothing special about it. You know, you can make the starter whatever you want as long as it has like a draw quick shield skill, because you might need those hand cards for later purposes. So yeah, I just run Harbinger Draco Kid just because I can. If you want to run something different, you can, but I just like him. I also like his art, and he does some good things for me in Zero, so I just like him because of that. Trigger lineup, rerun Rainbow. I am willing to change some of this around, but I do prefer the Rainbow. So we have Vanguard Gold as our draw PG, 5k power, 0 shield, grade 0 boost, can draw trigger 2 summons, we have 4 summons to deck, and auto guard. When placed on guard circle, discard one of you cannot be done to battle, standard PG, nothing special about it. That means when you place on guard circle, discard something, someone can't be hit. And that nullifies attack, screws over your opponent's big numbers. That's not really much of a problem in this deck, because you're going to be getting rid of so many hand cards with it, to the point where if they manage to get out a big number, it's a deck that like puts it all in one circle. So it's like maybe something like Valkyrion, or technically puts on 2 circles actually with Valkyrion, but like, you know, something like that where just a bunch of numbers go to one circle, and then you can just easily PG it and then guard the rest of them with like 1 or 2 cards max. So yeah, gold's really nice. Having our draw PG is probably the best. I do prefer the draw PG in this deck. If you want to run a different lineup, which I think the best lineup would be a total of 6/6 in terms of fronts and crits, but I prefer the draw PG. So then we have our front triggers and Dragon Dancer Katharina, 4 crits and Malevolent Jin, and 4 heals and Worm Toxin Eradicator Seibo. We all know why I'm not running the Heal Guardians at this point, I hope. If you do not know why I'm not running the Heal Guardians, please go check out my Great Nature Locks video from a few months ago that greatly describes in detail of why I don't like using Heal Guardians. But if you want the dumbed down explanation, I say dumbed down like an insult, I don't mean it like an insult. If you want the quicker explanation, they're in the main one, they're detrimental to my play style, and they're a waste of shield and after a certain point in the game. So yeah, that's the reason I don't run them. If you want a more I guess deepened explanation of it, go to the Locks video. Otherwise, let's continue with it. So yeah, that's our Rainbow lineup. This is meant to take full advantage of, well, this whole deck is meant to take full advantage of Armor Break. If you don't see Armor Break, you're fucked. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to the main deck, and I'll show you why. So 2 copies of Lightning of Hope Helena at the start. Our first grade 1 with boost, 10k shield, 8k base, auto rear once per turn. When your opponent's rear guard is bound during your turn, if there are no physical cards you damage zone, Soul Boss 1, countercharge 1. This will be instrumental in your game because Gauntlet Buster is a counterblast 3. The game has not changed from that point, from where back in the OG, where like good cards like Overlord, I don't know if Overlord was a good card back in the OG, but at least I considered it a good card, like where it's Counterblast 3 skill. Counterblast 3 is a hefty ass cost, because in a normal game you have 5 counterblasts you can work with, assuming neither player starts sacking heals or countercharging, which means you can only use it means you can only use Armor Break a total of once, because it's Counterblast 3, and that gets rid of 3 of your 5 counterblasts. Now, you have a countercharger, cool, if you get at least 1, cool, you can use them twice. Hopefully you see a heal, so you have buffer damage, so you can guard less, but also that you have another counterblast though to use Armor Break. Helena's here to where if you have to use Armor Break early, Soul Blasting 1 to countercharge 1 when you have no face-up damage is a good thing, because Counterblasting 3 to Counterblast 3 is not the best thing, but you know, if it's in a scenario where you can start rushing your opponent down real quickly in the early game, and you have the 3 damage and you have Helena in hand, go for it. You get extra crits, Helena will immediately make it so that you only counterblasted 2, It's a good card. It's a nice support thing. Downside is it only works when you have no face-up damage, which is why you only run about a 2 of, but I think it's still a good card to run. Then we have 3 copies of Jin of 100 Thunderclaps. This thing's going to go off so quickly. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 7k base. Continuous rear guard during your turn if your opponent's damage on his 4 or more cards. This unit gets plus 10. Okay, here's why it's here. Vanguard swings, it uses its skill once. Assuming you wipe out everything in their front row and they're only playing like a Force or Protect deck and they're not playing Excel, the Vanguard's already swinging for 33 Quintet critical. Yes, you heard me right, 33 Quintet critical, assuming you're at 3 damage, by the way, because it would increase if you were at 4 or more damage. So, you know, if they take that, then if they have 0 damage, they can afford to take that. Unless they want to bet on that crit. But, yeah, and if they guard it, cool. But yeah, this deck's really easy at pushing the opponent past 4 damage, and even if they guard that attack, well, your other attacks are pretty much going to get in through for free, so this is easily going to hit plus 10, so yeah, Vanguard is just one big PG fodder, and he even can't be PG'd, so what's your answer to that, Bushy? 3 copies of Jin of Thunderclap, just because he makes himself so much stronger if your opponent is stupid enough to let Gauntlet hit the face. I mean, not Gauntlet, Armor Break hit the face. Then we have 4 copies of Lightning Gun Eradicator Oban. Now, we all know I would not run archetypal cards in an archetype deck unless it was on rare occasions. Those rare occasions being something that needs it, or like a point where I have to do it. This is one of those points because Bushy was very restrictive on counter chargers for very specific decks or for most clans. Some of them got more than 1 or 2 counter chargers, but mainly most of them got 2 counter chargers at max. Narukami is one of those, and both of them are already in this deck. As you can see, there's Helena and there's Oban, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, I run this because this deck is meant to take full abilities of Armor Break, and Helena, unfortunately, just doesn't do it as well as I want it to. So Oban is a grade 1 with boost, 10k shield, 8k base, continues rear guard during turn if you have Lightning, Cannon, Eradicator, Gong in the same column as it. This unit gets plus 3k. So 11k booster during both players' turns, actually, so that's really nice. So, you know, if they start swinging the back row unless it's an 11k, that's really good. And the best part is, we all know I hate using cards I can't use full skills of. Thankfully, both this and the other Eradicator that was mentioned in its name, they're both in this deck, and neither of them require another Eradicator for its abilities to go off, so I don't have to feel bad about running these. And then the other skill, the one it's ran for, is Auto Rear. When placed, if you have Lightning, Cannon, Eradicator, Gong in the same column as it, countercharge 1. So downside is that means neither of this or Lightning Cannon can go to the Excel circles, because then that means this effect basically becomes useless. But it's a free counter charge. It's really nice and acts as an 11k booster for Gong. So honestly, why not to run, especially when it just sets up Armor Break so well. So 4 of solely for the counter charge ability, but the other ability still works good as a passive ability. Then we move on to 4 copies of our last grade 1 and the grade 1 that's going on Van. This is your main grade 1, by the way. I want to let that be clear, but this is the main grade 1 on Van. Demolition Dragon. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base, continuous rear guard. There are no rear guards in your opponent's front row. Yeah, because Armor Break's going to wipe all of them out unless any of them have resist. This unit gets plus 3k power. Okay, 11k booster. Still pretty good. You know, you can put it behind anyone. You can put it in the front row and she'll still get 3k. It's all around good card. And then Auto Van, when its attack hits a Vanguard, draw a card. So if you're going second, that's probably ideal for this deck because you're pushing so much numbers and you can attack first. So you can put them in a situation where just deal them 1 damage at all, they automatically have to guard Gauntlet, Armor Break, because if you kill 2 of their rear guards in the front row, Armor Break immediately swings for game unless they guard it. So yeah, Demolition's all around really good. If this is the attack they let hit, that's a free draw for you. And if they don't, well, then they're having to waste more guarding power early. And then when you're swinging with something that cannot be PG'd, you are swinging with at least 3 card drop because no one's gonna fucking 2 to pass a Gauntlet. I mean, an Armor Break, when if they do see 2 triggers, it's fucking game. So yeah, they're probably going to drop 3 cards unless 2 of them happen to be heals. So Demolition, really nice grade 1. I like it. Goes on Van really well. And its rear guard skill is still good as well because it's an 11k booster. So 4 of Demolition Dragon. Then move on to grade 2s. 4 copies of Dusty Plasma Dragon. Grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 9k base, auto rear once per turn. When your opponent's rear guard is bound during your turn, you may have 2 of your rear guards in the same column as this unit get plus 5 for the turn. So, you know, itself gets plus 5 and the unit behind it gets plus 5 basically. So yeah, it's just there for boosting. You may be noticing there's a lack of binding cards. Yeah, nope, that's on purpose. That is a theme, because if you don't, like I said, the whole point of this deck takes advantage of Gauntlet as a whole. I mean, not Gauntlet. I keep getting confused now. Armor Break as a whole, which means that you know, Armor Break's the other one that actually binds here. That's why I said earlier, if you don't draw Armor Break, you are fucked. So, you know, might want to try to make sure that no matter what's in your opening hand, Armor Break is the most important piece, because everything else in this deck is essentially useless. That's the whole point of this deck. I could have ran Gauntlet Buster, because Gauntlet Buster would be a good substitute, but no, fuck that. I must prove Armor Break is the better main grade 3. So yeah, 4 copies of Dusty Plasma Dragon, gets numbers decently, and does work in the deck, because he does it for free, so 4 of. Then we have 4 copies of Bolt Pike Dragon, grade 2 intercept, 10k shield, 12k base, continuous Vanguard rear. If your opponent has 2 or more units, it cannot attack. So that includes the Vanguard, so if they have a Vanguard and 1 rear guard in the front row, this immediately can't swing. But pluses to this, it's a 10k intercept. I learned that the hard way when I thought I was about to win against my friend, and nope, I didn't know this thing had 10k shield. Just fuck me. And then the 12k base. 12k base, now, you may think, okay, that's not that much, especially if you're playing against a Force deck. No, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Or at least in Vanquisher it is. The reason why I know this, my friend runs this in his Vanquisher deck at like a 3 of, I think. He might run it at a 4 of. Either way, this thing is the sole reason I keep losing. It's not even not Vanquisher, sorry. What's it called? I almost said Voltage, it's not that either. Fuck, I'm trying to remember its name now. Vermilion. Yeah, that's what it is. Vermilion. He runs out like 3 or 4 of it, Vermilion. This thing kills me so much because its base number is so annoying, and you can get this thing out early, go for early rush, force out hand cards. Yeah, in this deck, if you just early rush your opponent, they're gonna lose so quickly. But 4 copies of Bolt Pike, because if they try swinging into it, they actually have to waste time and energy into killing it, and then if they don't, well, you got a 10k interceptor, and the only thing they can have to do to stop it is call something into the front row. But yeah, Gauntlet will carry that. Once more, I mean, Armor Break, but once more, if you don't have Armor Break, then this is actually useless. So, you know, this is one of the cards that dies quicker if you're not on armor, so make sure you're on armor. 4 copies of Bolt Pike, though, because he's really good. Then we have 4 copies of our last grade 2 and our main grade 2, I guess, if you would consider, just because this is the main grade 1. Lightning Cannon Eradicator Gong Song. Weirdly enough, you don't run him for what he does. You run him because of what this thing does. Yeah, he's here for the counter charge and nothing else. So grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 9k base, continuous Vanguard rear. During your turn, if you have Lightning Gun Eradicator Oban in the same combat, he gets +3. So, you know, these are a total of 11 plus 12, so 23k swings. So that's abusable to a grade 3 Vanguard from a Force deck, so that's really nice. So force out 15k guard in addition to whatever fuck Armor Breaks dropping. And then auto Vanguard rear at the end of the battle, it attacked while boosted by Lightning Gun Eradicator. Counterblast 1, bind all of your rear guards on the same column as this unit. Sorry, all of the rear guards, including the opponent, and draw 2 cards. Include your units. Okay, pluses. He's the only other card in this deck that can combine. I completely forgot about that. But, if you're going to play like me, you will never use that skill because you'll be too paranoid of what if I don't draw more counter chargers? I don't want to waste my counterblast on this. So if you're paranoid like me, that will never go off. But if you're not paranoid like me, then yeah, you're probably going to get some consistent stuff out of here because, yeah, while you are losing a column, granted, that column's kind of a vanilla column now because the whole point of it was just this thing and it's kind of dead now. I mean, it still has the +3k, but still. So, you know, might as well nuke the opponent's column, allow Bolt Pike to actually swing this turn and draw 2. And not to mention, that's still good if you only have like 2 counterbots and then you actually can't afford Armor Break. So, you know, Gong sounds pretty nice. Get you 2 draws, possibly screws over your opponent's board, and it's a 12k booster, 12k swinger, but the most important part is his name, which you abuse with Oban to countercharge. So, yeah. 4 of both of these 2, they're still good in their own right outside of this deck. I just chose to put them in here because max countercharging possibility. Let's go. Grade 3s. Okay, here's your choice here. You have one of 2 options. Either run this because none of the other grade 3s are particularly good in my opinion, or like not worth running, and I'll explain my reasoning in a second. Or run Mighty Bolt Dragoon because Mighty Bolt Dragoon can search, and while yes, you would have 1 less grade 3, you're only ever gonna really need to be on Armor Break anyway, so Mighty Bolt just cuts out the middleman and tries to find it. So Great Composure Dragon is a grade 3 turn drive with Excel gift, 12k base, auto Vanguard rear at the beginning of your opponent's or your battle phase. This unit gets +3k power until end of turn for each of your opponent's open front or rear guard circles. So, you play against Excel, gets good numbers. Also, if it's your turn, it gets +5 instead of +3. So, you know, if it's during your turn and they have an Excel gift open and all of their front row is open because armor break, this is a 27k base without an Excel gift or boost. So that's really nice. You know, easy numbers they can get. I think it's a really nice card. And it's a really nice card defensively because it makes it slightly harder for them to kill if they have open front and rear guard circles. So if they have to start the battle phase off with open rear guard circles for whatever reason, for maybe multi-attack purposes, this definitely screws them over. But the reason why I don't run other cards such as Blat Arrow and fuck, I forgot what it's called, but it's something that can gain power when the thing is bound. Reason for not running Blat Arrow: we don't need 2 Sentinel stoppers like in the case where your opponent has to move a Sentinel to another card, yeah, Blat Arrow would, I guess, be helpful to lower it down, but the chances of that really being worth it, in my opinion, are not worth it. You know, like, if I had another main grade 3, yeah, I would run Blat Arrow, but not in this situation. And then as for another grade 3 who would gain power from binding, once more, you know, only goes off if armor breaks on Van. So, you know, might as well just run Great Composure because he has a Vanguard skill, he's decent, and granted, it's the only other thing in the deck that can bind. So, you know, you might just want to run. You might just want to run Mighty Bolt Dragoon in his place, but if you want the extra grade 3 just to get a gift, run him at a 4 of. Otherwise, swap this out for Mighty Bolt because I think Mighty Bolt's the only other better option than Great Composure. And then we move on to our main grade 3. The whole reason I built this deck: Armor Break Dragon. People have said he's a good finisher. I agree, he is a good finisher. But I don't think, or at least from what I've seen, I haven't heard anyone talk about how this thing could be a good main grade 3 on his own. I mean, you know, if you go first and your opponent's stupid enough to put you to 4 damage, that implies that they rushed you, or at least committed some form of hand to do that, and you have probably won the game because they were sitting at 1 damage and they probably can't guard what's about to come. So, he's a grade 3 with Twin Drive, Excel Gift, 12k base, Act Vanguard, Counterblast 3, bind all of your opponent's front row rears. Okay, doesn't sound that impressive because Gauntlet does the same thing and then move stuff up because it's Counterblast 2 and then move, kill, bind front row and then move 2 up, and it's not basically a once per turn. Granted, this isn't a once per turn either, but you're not going to be able to pull this off twice in a turn because Counterblast 3. And this unit gets plus 10k and a 2 crit until end of turn for each of your opponent's open front rear guard circles. So you don't know what Gauntlet does. Gauntlet is plus 5 and a crit for each open front rear guard circle. But that's a continuous ability and not every time you use its skill. This one happens when you use its skill. So, and not for each one kill, just for each open. So what's more, if they're playing a normal deck that is an Excel deck, or you're playing on grade 3 while they're at grade 2, because you can use when they're on grade 2, this boy is sitting at a fresh 32k with Quintet crit. Your opponent's guarding this if they don't want to fucking lose unless they're at 0 damage. And even then, I'd still want to take that chance, because what if they see a crit? So, yeah, that's pretty good. And, you know, just call the counterchargers, use his skill again, get another plus 20, and another 5 for crit. So now you're sitting at 9 critical with 52k base. Without other boosting. But that's not all. That's not all. That's not all. Auto Van, when it attacks, regardless of what grade your opponent's Vanguard is, if your damage zone has 4 or more cards, until end of battle, he gets another plus 10, and your opponent can't call Sentinels from hand. So, if you do what I said before and bring him to 52, and they were stupid enough to bring you to 4 damage, swing 62, 9 critical face, no Sentinels. Even if they survive this, they are severely crippled for the rest of the game because they are dropping at least 3 hand cards. Let's see, 3 heals. Assuming they're playing a force deck, let's go easy on them. Assuming they're playing a force deck, they're at 10 because you're swinging with this fucking first. They're at 10, they drop 3 heals. That's 60, that's 70. That's a 1 to pass on a 9 crit. You're not 1 to passing this. You're making sure it's not hitting, because if that hits, you're dead. End of story. Even if you're at 0 damage, you're fucking losing that game. Actually, would you? Actually, yeah, if you guard with 3 heals, you're definitely losing that game. So, yeah, all I'm saying is this: if you know your opponent has armor break in their deck because you see it hit the damage zone or you see them add it to hand, don't push them to 4. If you push them to 4, you are inviting a death wish. Because this thing is so stupid when they push you to 4. In fact, it's going to be worse than premium. I can think of so many ways to abuse this in premium. But yeah, all around, good card. Sweet numbers. People think this is just a finisher. Hell nah. It works as its own main grade 3 because you can do all that shit while they're at grade 2. And they're stupid enough to put you to 4 damage. If Bushy goes to a card that just does us a free damage, Armor Break's gonna do shit in fucking competitive. Anyways, I like this card. I think it's good. I like its art. I like the flame. I like the thundery gauntlets. It's just fucking beautiful. Its skill is amazing. 4 of... It's definitely a finisher regardless. 2 of, at least in every deck, in every Narukami deck, just because it's a good finisher, but still can be a main grade 3 out of 4 of. Then we have our Excel gifts. We have Excel 1, Excel 2, both at 6. You will never reach the point where you need to get 6 of these. If you've reached that point, both players have bricked, and at that point, one of you should have scooped by now. So, when they're made, they both go on additional rearguard circle. First at top left, then top right. That is a mandatory ruling. That is not a choice, up to you. And I don't know if you would get kicked from a tournament from this. Sometimes I think you would. Sometimes I don't think you will. I think you would get a warning for it if you fucked up the first time. Then afterwards you would, if you had to get a warning again, then they would probably kick you. But anyways, Excel 1, when the circle is made, the unit on that circle will get plus 10 during your turn. And for Excel 2, when the circle is made, you get a draw, and the unit on that circle is plus 5 during your turn. So this one gives more power. This one gives more consistency. Go for this one. You want to know why? This gives you all the numbers. They're not PGing this. They're dropping hand just to stop this thing. Like, I'm not even joking with you. Like, this is genuinely just an instant hit. People say, oh yeah, it's good to have PG fodder. I mean, yeah, that's true. But, I think it's better if you can just wipe out more hand cards, because what's the difference of wiping out 2 or 3 hand cards? Well, if you wipe out 3 hand cards, you're wiping out a possible counterattack, because one card can make all the difference. It doesn't matter to have that PG for later if you can shut it down again, because Armor Break second skill activates regardless of what rear guards I have. If you're at 4 damage regardless, he gets plus 10, and you can still nullify Sentinel, so that's a permanent thing. So, all around, I think you should just go Excel 2. If you really want to go Excel 1 because you think you got to plus numbers faster, go Excel 1, because I've actually seen Excel 1 doing a lot better, especially with what's it called, Stealth Fiends, because I've been abusing Excel 1 and Stealth Fiends so much today. And as for Excel 2, I think it's more consistent. Go for that one, but like I said, Excel 1 can work. Then we have a quick show, which is when one of you is attacked, it gets plus 5k for the battle. So if you choose to run Mighty Bolt over this, which I do suggest, but I choose to run Great Composure just because I want to run Great Composure, then this is what you would discard for it. Otherwise, you would just discard it for the PG, or you get a free 5k shield. But like I said, try to if you're at grade 3 and they don't, if you're going first and your opponent doesn't know you have Armor Break, try to let them push you to 4 just so you can get the skills off and fuck them over. I think that's a worthwhile bet. So yeah, 5k shield, that can be helpful in the end game. And that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, this deck is very powerful. Like, I'm speaking from just not experience, but like, we all know Armor Break over here is gonna be good, right? Like, he's already a good finisher. And in theory, he's probably an amazing fucking grade 3. But I'm willing to bet right now he's an amazing grade 3. And I'm gonna go test out that theory after this video. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, follow Twitch. Tell me your opinion on the deck, because I want to know what other people think of this insane bullshit that I've put together. So, yeah, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your Vanguards.